Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. Although Yan Zhenghai seemed very sincere with no trace of hostility at all, it did not mean Zhou would easily trust him. The deadly strike card was still in his hand, just in case. How could someone who was capable enough to be Yi Yao's helper had any less than 5 birth charts? Is the sea spirit pearl yours? Zhou asked. Yan Zhenghai shook his head and said with a smile, the sea spirit pearl belonged to the Black Tower Council. If members want to use it, they'd have to apply to the council. This thing is above the flood grade and has become a fusion. Zhou took note of the key information in Yan Zhenghai's words. He asked, Yao is your companion, but you just watched him die by my hands? To be honest, Yan Zhenghai sighed before he said, the Black Tower Council has long been divided into many factions. The Black Tower Council has existed for so long that no one knows when it was first founded. All the presidents of the past dynasties have lived by the concept of captive breeding. This concept has made the Black Lotus domain more and more powerful. However, it also brought with it a host of problems such as the wastage of life hearts. Those with special privileges use it recklessly even if they couldn't activate their birth charts. The Black Lotus domain will eliminate those who try to stop the Black Tower Council from carrying out the captive breeding concept. There are also problems such as uneven distribution, waste of resources, internal strife, and corruption. Most importantly, there are more and more conflicting opinions. Conflicting ideas? Zhou asked curiously. The supporters naturally want to continue doing things the way it has always been done by monopolizing the life hearts. The reformists want to improve on the concept such as categorizing all the life hearts. The radicals want to carry out the elimination plan, Yan Zhenghai said. Which faction do you belong to? Zhou asked with a frown. Based on this, it seemed like the Black Tower Council was much more complicated than he had imagined. None of them, Yan Zhenghai said with a smile. His deep eyes seemed to be glowing as he said, I'm like Luli. I like freedom. I'm optimistic about the future and filled with hope for everything. If Zhou had heard these words before he transmigrated, he would have scoffed at such words. He was surprised to see that Yan Zhenghai was so honest in such a situation. Perhaps, due to his good impression of Luli, he lowered his guard against Yan Zhenghai. After a beat, he said, the weak are prey to the strong, it's the survival of the fittest. Your idea is rather novel. Yan Zhenghai continued to say, Luli often says that people like to fight among themselves. I'm similar to him, I don't like fighting. There are some things I can't say. I hope you'll forgive me for it. Zhou asked, what if I force you to tell me? Yan Zhenghai frowned as he sighed heavily. Huh? Why? Then, Yan Zhenghai spread his hands and said, I'm just a layman. Even if you kill me, you won't gain anything. Naturally, Zhou could not tell Yan Zhenghai that he would gain merit points if he killed him. However, if he used the deadly strike cards, he probably would not earn many merit points. Then why did you lure me here? Zhou asked. I want to make a deal with you. A deal? A Black Lotus cultivator has a time limit when they go on a mission, so I can't stay for long. Therefore, I'd like to ask for your help to look for Luli. If I'm not mistaken, you've only activated your birth charts not too long ago, and you don't have much combat experience with it. I can provide you with books related to birth charts, Yan Zhenghai said without beating around the bush. Zhou did not agree to it immediately. Instead, he thought about it. Indeed, he needed more information about birth charts. Due to the Black Lotus domain monopolizing the birth chart beasts in the Red Lotus domain, the information available in the Red Lotus domain about birth charts was limited. Moreover, there were no records of cultivators' experience as well. Therefore, he was lacking in regard to knowledge about birth charts. Yan Zhenghai saw through Zhou's thoughts and continued to say, you've activated 3 birth charts, but you're able to defeat Yi Yao who had activated 5 birth charts. This shows you're highly talented. Even Yi Yao with the Sea Spirit Pearl couldn't turn the situation around. With knowledge, you'll be able to further increase your strength. Yan Zhenghai paused for a moment as he glanced at Lu Zhou before he continued to say, birth charts are undoubtedly powerful. However, if you know what kind of life heart to look for, you bring out the full potential of your birth charts. For example, Yi Yao's weakness was his speed. Therefore, he obtained the life heart of a speedy birth chart beast that increased his speed. In your case, apart from your birth chart that granted you the fire control ability, the other two birth charts are essentially wasted. You have to understand that cultivators can only activate a limited number of birth charts in their lives. Therefore, it's important to choose the life hearts with care. Birth charts can be used to cover your shortcoming or boost your strength. Lu Zhou could not find any fault in Yan Zhenghai's words. After a moment, he asked, Yi Yao obtained a speed-type life heart? That's right. Yan Zhenghai nodded. It would have been fine if Lu Zhou was ignorant about this matter. However, now that he was aware of it, he could not help but feel that he was losing out. If he had known this, he would have left the first two life hearts for his disciples. Defensive strength was not particularly useful to him, and fire resistance was somewhat similar to fire control. Yan Zhenghai said, you've already activated 3 birth charts, so you have to be careful when activating the subsequent birth charts. In order to show you my sincerity, I'll give you a piece of information. Within the next 7 days, a birth chart beast will appear near this giant stone formation. Aren't you afraid that this old man will snatch the life heart? The appearance of a birth chart beast meant that there would be a new 10-leaf expert in the capital. Yan Zhenghai smiled slightly and said, I've always been optimistic. What a good answer. Then we'll talk about it when the time comes, Lu Zhou said. Yan Zhenghai did not expect Lu Zhou to agree to him so suddenly. It was not unheard of in history for a fish to slip through the net of Thousand Realms whirling experts from the Black Tower Council. There were talented and powerful people that appeared in the Red Lotus domain 2,000 years ago. Unfortunately, they were quickly dealt with by the Black Tower Council. Nevertheless, how could someone who was capable of slipping through the net be a fool? After a moment, Yan Zhenghai said, there's another thing I should remind you. What is it? You're from the Golden Lotus domain. From what I know, the Golden Lotus domain should be weaker than the Red Lotus domain. Now that there's a Golden Thousand Realms whirling expert, it won't be long before the Black Lotus domain tries to monopolize the birth chart beasts in the Golden Lotus domain. This had already occurred to Lu Zhou, but he did not expect Yan Zhenghai to say such things. It seemed like Yan Zhenghai was treating him like a piece of blank paper. He did not think it was a bad thing. This way, he would be able to obtain more information, regardless if it was just confirming his speculations. You only want to find Lu Li? Lu Zhou asked. That's right. You're just friends. Yan Zhenghai replied, friends who have lived and died together. Lu Zhou nodded and said, all right. I've always been reasonable. I'll tell you more about Lu Li once I see the birth chart beast. What I can tell you now is that Lu Li is safe. Yan Zhenghai cupped his fists together and asked, may I know your name? My surname is Lu, Lu Zhou said. Farewell, brother. Wait, Lu Zhou called out. Then, he said solemnly, I believe what you said is true. However, if I find out you're lying, I'll take your life. Apart from that, don't threaten me with the Black Tower Council. After Lu Zhou finished speaking, the deadly strike card in his hand disappeared. After looking at Yan Zhenghai, he vanished in a flash. At this moment, Yan Zhenghai was the only one left in the forest. He seemed to be in a daze. After a long time, he murmured to himself, is he really just a 3-chart expert? Was I mistaken? Yan Zhenghai was inclined to believe that the Golden Thousand Realms whirling cultivator was deliberately hiding his cultivation base and his number of birth charts to appear weak. Yan Zhenghai shook his head gently. After he looked at the sun in the sky, his figure flickered briefly before he disappeared. Meanwhile, at a hillside west of the capital, a young man leaned against a rock and panted heavily. Lordy is dead. Lordy is dead. Fortunately, I was careful. What should I do now? How am I going to contact the Black Tower Council in the future? What should I do? At this moment, a carefree voice rang from the other side of the rock. What else do you think you can do? There's nothing you can do. The young man jumped in shock. He looked at the rock warily as he demanded loudly, "Who is it? Come out." A person walked out from behind the rock before he leaned against the rock and asked with a smile on his face, "Why are you so scared?" The young man frowned as he asked warily, "Who are you? Why are you following me? Don't be so nervous. My surname is Ri. You can call me Mr. Ri." "Nice to meet you." The newcomer reached out as though he wanted to shake hands with the young man. The young man was still shaken and frightened. How could he dare to shake hands with a stranger? He looked at the person in front of him and said, "Don't follow me." "Hey, I'm just trying to be nice. How can you be so ungrateful?" The young man took a few steps back. "Did you come to watch the show?" As the young man retreated, Mr. Reed slowly advanced. "Is there anyone who doesn't want to watch a battle between 2,000 realms whirling experts? Why are you so nervous? There's a first time for everything, there's no need for you to be so nervous. What's your name?" The young man lowered his guard slightly. The person in front of him did not seem like an expert at all. He said with a hint of pride, "I'm afraid I'll scare you if I tell you my name. My master is the Flying Star House's Yizhen. I advise you not to make trouble." "Isn't Yezhen dead?" Jiang Shaosheng looked at the person in front of him with a complicated expression. He could not help but feel the person in front of him was strange. "Did you follow me for a long time?" Mr. Ri said, "Well, yes. I was happily watching the show in the palace when I discovered you hiding in a corner. Then, I followed you here." Jiang Shaosheng asked warily, "Are you a member of the royal court?" "No." Mr. Ri shook his head. "I just came to watch the show." Jiang Shaosheng heaved a sigh of relief. "That's good. Don't follow me anymore. I have to go now." "Where are you going?" "It has nothing to do with you." Jiang Shaosheng quickened his pace. "Yizhen is dead, but you still dare to come here. Is it for revenge?" Mr. Ri asked as though he did not hear Jiang Shaosheng's words. Jiang Shaosheng came to a halt as a tiny sword energy appeared in his hand. As soon as he turned around, the tiny energy sword shot toward Mr. Ri. Whoosh! The energy sword was blocked by Mr. Ri's protective energy before it could do any harm. Jiang Shaosheng frowned when he saw the golden energy shrouding Mr. Ri. "You're from the Golden Lotus domain?" "How observant," Mr. Ri said with a smile. "No wonder." Jiang Shaosheng suddenly joined his palms together. Boom! Jiang Shaosheng disappeared into a puff of smoke. "Damn it! So fast?" Mr. Ri cursed as he gave chase. The entire place fell silent with Mr. Ri's departure. After a moment, Jiang Shaosheng emerged from the ground and patted the dirt off his body as he said disdainfully, "This is the extent of the capability of the people from the Golden Lotus domain. How stupid. Woof." At this moment, a fierce beast that resembled a dog came pouncing over. Its eyes were shining brightly. A fierce beast? Jiang Shaosheng raised his hand and launched a palm seal. The fierce beast's paws collided with the palm seal. The beast landed on the ground on all fours before it shifted to face Jiang Shaosheng and growled. Jiang Shaosheng was overjoyed. "How lucky. I met a fool and a fierce beast with a life heart. Woof. Woof. Woof." Jiang Shaosheng chuckled as he said, "Consider yourself unlucky." Buzz. Jiang Shaosheng's avatar appeared in the air. In the beginning, it had a humanoid form, but soon after, it distorted and grew 9 heads. Out of the 9 heads, only 4 of the heads were raised. At the same time, a 6-leaf red lotus spun under it. The 4 heads snarled, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws at the dog-like beast. It looked disgusting and terrifying, like a tentacled monster. Woof. 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 The dog-like beast that had never been provoked in such a manner barked fiercely, its fur stood on ends like golden needles. It was not intimidated at all. As it pounced over, it suddenly grew a size bigger. Rip. The dog-like beast bit one of the heads. Jiang Shaoxing endured the pain and said excitedly, "You fell for my trick. This is exactly what I want. Die." The other 3 heads bared their fangs and made a move to bite the dog-like beast. At the critical moment, a streak of light sailed past the treetops. Bang! 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 The 3 heads were pushed back in just an instant. Jiang Shaoxing grunted in pain due to the damage to his avatar. He staggered on his feet as he looked up. "Who's it?" Then, he saw a young man leaning against the tree trunk, shaking his leg and smiling at him. Was this not Mr. Ri? "It's you," what Jiang Shaoxing exclaimed in surprise. "That's right. It's me. I was afraid you'd be bored staying underground, but I was also afraid of disturbing you. Hence, I waited on the tree," Mr. Ri said as he shook his head. "This dog has a bad habit. Once it clamps its fangs down on something, it won't let go." "You?" Jiang Shaoxing felt the person in front of him was really too strange. Grr. All of a sudden, the beast exerted force in its bite. Its fangs and claws glinted in the light as it tore into one of the heads in a frenzy. Jiang Shaoxing's eyes were bloodshot as he cried out in pain. He controlled the 3 remaining heads to bite the beast and launched several palm seals at the same time. A streak of light shot down from the treetop again. Bang! 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 The 3 heads were repelled again. The streak of light continued on its trajectory and accurately deflected the red palm seals away from the beast. Jiang Shaoxing looked at Mr. Ri and asked, "Who are you exactly?" "It doesn't matter who I am. All you have to know is this dog is mine." Woof. Woof woof. It was as though its master's words had boosted its courage. Its strength grew as well. It clamped its fangs tightly and shook its head from side to side. Rip. Soon enough, it forcefully tore off one of the heads on the avatar. With this, Jiang Shaoxing was heavily injured. He endured the excruciating pain with a terrified expression on his face. He retreated dozens of meters as he said desperately, I didn't know this dog belongs to you, senior. I'm already injured. Why don't we call it even? What do you think?" "No." Mr. Ri waved his hand. "Doggy, go." At this moment, the beast looked more like Xiongqi than a dog. Its speed was like a gust of wind as it charged out. Realization dawned on Jiang Shaoxing at this moment. He just discovered what kind of fierce beast and danger he had encountered. When he looked up at the young man standing on the branch of the tree, he saw the young man holding a desolate-grade weapon in his hand. Mr. Ri dove from the tree with a smile on his face at this moment. Miserable cries began to resound through the forest in just an instant. After a while. Woof. 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 Qiongqi barked furiously at Jiang Shaoxing. "He's dead. Stop barking." Woof. 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 "What? You want to eat him?" "No. It's too disgusting," Ming Shirin said decisively. Woof. 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 "All right, let's compromise. You can tear them up as much as you want, but you're not allowed to eat them." Qiongqi's eyes shone in excitement as it pounced on Jiang Shaoxing. At this moment, Jiang Shaoxing suddenly opened his eyes. He tried to crawl away as he shouted, "You're sick." Woof. 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 Lu Zhou, who had just returned to the capital, was puzzled when he received the notification that he had received 500 merit points. He wondered if something had happened in the palace. Soon after, he was notified of another 500 merit points and a domain bonus of 500 merit points. Initially, Lu Zhou had planned to look around the capital to search for useful clues, but upon receiving these notifications, he shelved the idea and decided to return to the palace. In the political announcement hall in the royal palace, the 8 great generals and the governor stood respectfully as they said, "Long live the emperor." Li Yunzheng, who was sitting on the throne, looked at them calmly before he said with a sigh, "When I wanted to see you, you didn't come. When I didn't want to see you, you came.